In this video, we're utilizing 3 different firearms for demonstration and education purposes. 2 9mm pistols and 1 revolver. You'll also see in this basket, I have what's known as dummy rounds or snap caps. These are a fantastic training aid, highly recommended, and I believe that every gun owner should own them as they can assist you in loading and unloading proficiency, as well as safely drawing and holstering your firearm, and they help create malfunctions. In a dynamic situation, a lethal encounter for concealed carry, you may find yourself with a malfunction gun, and you're going to want to know how to quickly and efficiently clear that malfunction and stay in the fight. All right, starting off with this magazine, I'm going to grip the magazine with my entire hand. Notice all fingers are wrapped around, and essentially I have created a fist, a good solid handshake type grip on the magazine. Retrieving one of my dummy rounds, I'm going to pinch the projectile, the orange part, with 3 fingers, my thumb, index, and middle finger. Pinching that projectile with 3 fingers, I want to be right in front of this lip here. I simply go down and in. First one's pretty easy. Each subsequent round, I want to assist by pushing down this initial cartridge that is in the magazine with either my thumb or my index finger. Doesn't matter. My preference is typically my thumb. So my thumb is pressing that projectile or that cartridge down. I'm going to retrieve another cartridge, pinching with 3 fingers, thumb, index, and middle finger. I want to put my brass right near the orange part. So brass near orange, and I simply go down and in. I'll continue to do so until this magazine is loaded. Pressing down with my thumb, pinching with 3 fingers, right in front of this lip here where brass meets orange, I go down, 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 and in. Now, mind you, more cartridges that you get into this magazine, you'll find that the spring is becoming under pressure and it can become more difficult to do. They do sell a device that is known as a speed loader, which essentially acts as your thumb and can make the process a little bit easier. Once your magazine is loaded, we can now proceed to loading the actual firearm. Retrieving the firearm, of course, following core safety rules, we want to make sure that our trigger finger is always on the frame unless we intend on firing. We also want to make sure that the gun is clear. We look down that magazine well. We feel with our finger, we look with our eyes, we take our support hand finger, place it inside the chamber to physically feel whether or not there is an obstruction or cartridge in it. Always double check again with your finger and your eyes. I deem this gun to be clear. All right, taking that magazine, you want to seat the magazine into the magazine well. Notice the orange part, the projectile, is facing towards the barrel. As the point comes when the shot is fired, it'll exit. Taking that magazine, you'll inseat the magazine into the firearm, of which you'll have heard a click, and I did use some force. Now, even though the magazine is inside of the gun and you can see the cartridges there, the firearm is not quite loaded yet. You have 2 different options on how to charge this gun. Option number 1 will be that my thumb rests on top of that slide lock. The meat of my thumb is resting on top of that slide lock and is going to push down. Gun is now charged and ready to fire. Bang, bang, bang. To unload this firearm, my thumb, you always want to take the magazine out first. My thumb is going to press inward on that magazine release. Always take the magazine out first. My thumb is pressing inward to release the magazine. As you can see, the magazine is coming out. Don't forget, folks, there is still a round in that chamber. And if that cartridge was real and I pressed that trigger, whammo, the gun would go off and I would have a negligent discharge. So it's absolutely imperative that once you take the magazine out, we must get that round out of the chamber. The best practice to get that round out of the chamber is as such. Essentially, I'm going to pull this slide rearward. I'm going to pull the slide rearward, and once the slide is completely rearward, my thumb is going to press up on this slide lock. So here we go. To place the slide rearward, my support hand is wrapping around the gun. Notice the position of my thumb is fairly close to the tail end of the slide. Notice these fingers are wrapped on the slide. All 4 fingers are on the slide itself, not fully encompassing the gun, the trigger guard, or trigger. These fingers are on the slide only. Notice again the position of my thumb. This hand is going to press rearward. My strong hand or my shooting hand is going to be pressing forward towards the muzzle. All right. There we go again. I have both hands on the gun. I'm pushing and pulling at the same time. All right. Once that slide is all the way back, notice my thumb is pressing up. My thumb pressed up on that slide lock, and there's the round that was in the chamber. All right. Option number 2. I take that magazine, I seat the magazine into the gun, and earlier I used my thumb. All right, and that works. Here's option number 2. Option number 2 would be taking my support hand with a palm and 4 fingers. Once again, notice these fingers are on the slide here, not wrapped all the way around. All right, so palm and 4 fingers. All right, I pull back and let go. Once again, that firearm is loaded and ready to fire. Bang, bang, bang. To clear this firearm, again, I always want to take that magazine out first. Notice my thumb is depressing on the magazine release. Do not forget, there is still a round in that chamber. We got to get that round out of the chamber by pushing and pulling. My thumb pushes up on the slide lock. Oh, didn't work that time. Thumb pushed up on the slide lock. Here's that round that was in the chamber. Of course, we always want to check, make sure that the firearm is clear. We can see down that magazine well. I place my finger in there, physically feel that there's no obstruction or cartridge inside of the chamber. Always double check again with that finger and the eye. I deem this firearm to be clear. Back to manipulating the slide. I had shown that I went with a palm and 4 fingers. Notice I was manipulating towards the rear of the gun. I don't want to see your palm and 4 fingers towards the front of the gun as it places my hand too close to the barrel. Remember, core safety rules, we want to keep the barrel always in the safest direction. All right, so again, I'd rather see your hand rearward towards the end of the slide. Also be careful that the meat of your hand does not get caught in there, as if it did, metal on metal, metal on flesh on metal is probably going to hurt pretty bad. But I'd rather see your hand rearward, not towards the front. All right. Let's also focus here on the second semi-automatic pistol. You're going to find it to be very similar in nature. However, this design is an ambidextrous design, meaning you can manipulate the magazine release with both your strong or support hand. I'll get to that in just a moment. So once again, here we are loading the magazine in the same manner. All right, pinching with 3 fingers, that orange part, projectile. First round, I simply go down and in. Each subsequent round, I'm assisting with my thumb by depressing that initial round inside of the magazine, pinching with 3 fingers. Where gold meets orange, I simply go down and in. One more. Pinching with 3 fingers, assisting with my thumb. Gold meets orange, down, 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 and in. All right, let's just double check this gun here. Of course, core safety rule, keeping the barrel always in the safest direction. We look down that magazine well. I don't see anything. Placing my finger inside of the chamber to physically feel. Always double check again, looking with your eyes. And then, of course, with your finger, there's no obstruction or cartridge in there. Okay, so going to take that magazine, insert the magazine, same thing. You want that orange part facing down the barrel. Going to insert the magazine into the weapon, release the slide. I'm going to use my thumb on this one. Gun's ready to fire, bang, bang, bang. Now, here's the difference. This particular brand, Walther, or the brand Heckler & Koch, or H&K, have a similar design where the magazine release is actually here on the trigger guard, both on the left-hand side of the gun and on the right. That would be your magazine release there. Let me demonstrate real quick. Gun's loaded, ready to fire, bang, bang, bang. To unload and release the magazine, I can press down. I'm pressing down on this trigger guard. All right, see that lever is moving there? Press down on the trigger guard. The magazine is already popped. Gonna pull that magazine out. All right, let me show you on the other side. On the right-hand side, this time I'm going to utilize my thumb to release the magazine. Middle finger is going to press down on that trigger guard. It has released the magazine. I can take the magazine out of the gun. Don't forget, folks, there is still a round in that chamber. And if it was real, and if I press that trigger, that gun would go off, having, once again, a negligent discharge. We're going to follow the same procedure. All right, placing my support hand on the slide. Notice it's in a similar or same position. Gonna push and pull, push and pull. All right. Push and pull, slide is rearward. My thumb is pressing up on that slide lock. There's the cartridge that was inside of the gun. We want to check with our eyes and our finger. Always double check again. Eyes and our finger. I deem the firearm to be clear. I do have another magazine here. This also is a magazine for a Glock Model 44, which is a 22 semi-automatic pistol. Most semi-automatic 22 pistols are going to have a similar magazine. Earlier you saw that I was pressing down on that cartridge to assist, right? Well, with the 22 pistol, it actually has this little lever here where you could see the spring moving, all right? And I can press down on the lever in order to assist as I'm inserting cartridges. I continue to press that lever down. Rather than using my thumb here, I'm simply using it here to assist, all right? Most 22 pistols, semi-automatic pistols, are going to have this design. I don't see it so much for 9s, 40s, or 45s, although it could happen, not quite as popular. All right, moving on here to the Revolver. This Revolver, we want to make sure that it is clear. I follow a similar procedure by looking with my eyes, making sure that that cylinder is clear. And then, of course, I feel, make sure there's no obstruction or anything inside of that barrel. Double check a second time. I'm looking with those eyes, and then I feel gun looks clear to me. The best grip when manipulating a revolver for loading and unloading is as such. I'm going to take my support hand and do one of these, all right? This is how I'm going to manipulate the gun. I'm going to go underneath, underneath, underneath. Notice the position of those fingers, all right? Middle, ring, thumb is wrapped around the cylinder. I am now in control of that cylinder, and notice the position of my index finger and pinky. All right, in my opinion, that is the best grip. So let's start from the beginning. To open up the cylinder of this revolver, my thumb is going to press forward on this lever, and I'm kicking the cylinder out, all right? Thumb press forward, kick the cylinder out, and I'm going into that grip. Notice again the position of my fingers on this gun. I'm then going to grab my dummy rounds and simply insert each cartridge into the cylinder. Once it's loaded, close it, and this gun is ready to be fired. Bang, bang, bang. To unload this revolver, going to follow a similar procedure. My thumb, once again, is pressing forward towards the barrel. It remains pressing forward. Index finger kicks the cylinder out. Here we go again with that grip that I'm going to utilize, and I need to get these spent cartridges out. Sometimes you'll see at the range somebody is kind of whacking their gun to get them out. That is unnecessary, as a revolver will have an extractor on it. And watch my thumb. As I press on that extractor, it kicks out the spent cartridges. And by the way, if these were fired at the actual range, the casings would have expanded and they would not come out easily. Go ahead and use your extractor as it is there to assist you in getting those spent cartridges out. Once again, to get this cylinder open, my thumb is pressing forward, thumb pressing forward. At the same time, I'm kicking that cylinder out with my index finger, going into my grip. I'm in control of the cylinder and of the gun. I'm simply going to grab each cartridge and drop it into the cylinder. Once that cylinder is loaded, I would simply close the cylinder, and here we go again. This gun is ready to be fired. Bang, bang, bang. To unload, thumb forward, index out. Here we go with that grip again. I'm in control. I'm going to let gravity do its thing. I'm going to press on that extractor in order to get those spent rounds out. Of course, we always want to then check the gun again. We're looking with our eyes. I don't see any cartridges in that cylinder. I physically feel there's no obstruction or projectile or anything in the barrel. Double check again, guys, looking with your eyes and with your finger. I do deem this firearm to be clear. I do highly recommend that you purchase those dummy rounds for reasons that I have stated earlier. I'm sure you could see the benefits that they can give you. Again, it costs just a few dollars, and you'll find that they'll last you a long time and give you a great training aid. I would encourage you folks to please subscribe to this page, like and share, as it helps promote education and training for law-abiding gun owners to protect themselves and keep those that they are around safe. Should you have any questions, always let me know in the comment section, and I'll be seeing you all soon. Thank you.